kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired from my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Paid my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm by the things we do or the trouble that we get into. Other than a wild hair once in a while, we can't help it, it's just our style. Good old boys, it's all we'll ever be. I got an alimony payment that's 6 weeks overdue. I got caught with a truck full of bootleg out-of-state booze.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. More importantly, hope you took time to remember those who have fallen so that you could barbecue and enjoy the beach and whatever else you did this Memorial Day weekend.
Amen.
Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerlam Hay Feed and Ranch Services. We really missed all the weather because it came in while we were all sleeping. Probably woke most of us up.
We got all week to get it. It's supposed to be rainy all week, folks. It's 73 degrees and cloudy in Victoria right now, heading to a high of 90. But it's going to rain, according to my weather deal, which
Good
is
chance of rain most of the week.
Good chance of rain all week.
Good. We
Rain, glorious rain. We need it.
Although I was surprised. Like I was expecting a lot of standing water.
No,
nothing.
Because I think the ground's just sucking it all up.
I think you're right.
Wade and Carter weather is brought to you as always by the great folks at AT Deerlam Feed. For over 50 years, the little gin that could, serving you and yours, your family, from everything from fence section to hay bale holders to salt licks, feed. This weekend,
squeeze shoots, they can get you Powder River stuff, good stuff.
This weekend, I put down, Caden put down the 21-7-14 blend, and I have to qualify that I didn't do the Manuel labor. But speaking of, did you happen to see the video over the weekend of your buddy? Is it Emmanuel Macron?
Oh, the French president?
Did you see his wife just slap him?
No, I missed that one.
So they show the airplane, and you see the guy, and it's obvious that he's coming off like the French Air Force One.
Yeah.
I think they call it Retreat One.
La Air Force One.
La Surrender One. And the guy is sliding the door over, right? And you see Macron is essentially, from my perspective, I'm assuming the plane that's on the left side of the plane. So he's like kind of backing up into your view,
okay,
say from the cockpit side.
Yeah. And
as he's backing up, I mean, I'm going to do, Ash is not ready for this. I'm not actually going to hit you. Okay. But you just see this. And he turns immediately to the door and waves like, oh crap, I'm in the doorway. The world saw that. You see the red sleeve. I mean, she just face plants him like that. Really this hard. Boom. And all of a sudden, she enters the doorway behind him, and he stands there. He steps down to like the second step, and then he puts his arm out, to escort her. She does not take it. Ooh. And he walks down the steps waving to everybody, and she walks down behind him very stoic. Hey. I thought it was
a Joe Biden moment for him. Did he forget where he was or something?
No, I mean, he just got basically wife punched. And I didn't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't know anything about her, except people said, the gay relationship's coming unwound, and now we know who's the bottom, all that kind of stuff. And I did not know that his wife was known to be less than feminine. I did not know that. Her name's Brigitte. She's 72 years old, but they've been married since 2007. But at any rate, see if you put up type of slap, just put the word slap after that. You put Emmanuel Macron wife, and now you just put slap and watch this video right here. I want you to see the reenaction of me giving you the face plant. Look at there. Look at there, dude. And
they look like they were in a bit of a heated argument.
I think so. And it looks to me like he lost, like 1-0. She outpointed him in that round. But at any rate, that was just an aside for a Tuesday. That we usually do that on Monday when the electricity's not working right and stuff. Yeah, Lisa Poole says, I think they were arguing. He made a statement.
It looks like
that they were just joking around. Yeah. I don't think that when you're the dignitary of your country that your wife punches you in the face getting off the airplane. I just don't believe it. Would you want a red spot on your face? Because there was definitely contact.
No, just a little bit that I saw that looks like there was a heated argument.
To me, he should have kept his left up. I mean, clearly, when Dawn comes at me like that, I'm just ready.
Yeah, he just wasn't prepared.
You got to deflect. Anyway, back to that. The 21-7-14 blend is down. I will remain, not become,
you'll be mowing
the envy of the cul-de-sac.
Ricky King, Scott Tomko, Greg Garcia. First three in on the podium this morning. There's Bobby Leister. Good morning, Bobby. Thanks for lunch yesterday. Bobby invited me over for lunch. Enjoyed that visit with him and his dad, Walter.
Bobby didn't invite me over for lunch. Once again, Ash finds a way to
get a free meal.
Let everybody know he's the star of the show. I'm just here clinging. Court's in session.
You carry the gavel.
Absolutely. I am the keeper of the gavel, and that is, by anybody's standards, a big gavel.
That is a big gavel. Judge Posey, good morning. Jordan Glass, Ryan Hopping, Jarrett McCurgan, good morning, Cuz, Mark Kurtz.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Matt. Matt
Linda
Boucher.
Torrin Bales, David Glass, Lisa Poole, Stephanie Conti, Rena Scherer. Good morning, Scott Snow. We're huge in Neosho, Missouri this morning.
Torrin Bales is out there at his Mission Valley Park that he lives at. I mean, who goes and buys over 30 acres and then decides, I'm just going to mow it all?
Torrin.
Yeah. I mean, he could sell the hay. No. I don't let it grow that long.
No, it can't grow that long.
It's got
to be
golf green. Big, beautiful lawn. Yeah, you can play bocce ball. Like 900 bocce ball teams could go out there and play.
You could play the Olympic bocce tournament on his lawn.
With the helipad. Yeah.
Jerry Jacobs, good morning. Funky Trey Molina.
We're in Neosho, Missouri today. 57 degrees. Good for you, Junior.
Inch and a half, 2 inches of rain in the area.
I didn't know what the judge was talking about. The comment just says slightly over inch and a half here. I'm like, are you bragging? I don't know. What's he talking about?
I saw Scott Tomko said they had 2 inches in Northwest.
Oh, okay.
So that's why. That's the only I'll give it some context.
Buddy Stevanoa, Micah Patton, 71 degrees in Myersville. Soon to be called Balesland. They're going to change the name to Balesland.
Exactly.
Why not?
There's no Ville there anyway.
No, there's no Ville.
There's no Ville in Myersville. How about, so Macron gets
punched,
B-slapped for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
You know who really deserves one? This Democrat congressman from Maryland, Glenn Ivey. What an idiot.
Just a complete clown and indicative of the left in general. On a Memorial Day, literally on Memorial Day, yesterday, this idiot, Glenn Ivey, Democrat from Maryland, flies with a contingent. I think there were two other Congress people with him to El Salvador, basically demands to see the Abrego Garcia gentleman that was deported, who was here illegally. That alone, reason for deportation. The fact that he had been questioned, was involved in some spousal abuse, yada, yada, yada. I mean, the stage has been set for him to deserve deportation just by being here illegally. Basically demanding that the El Salvadoran gentleman be presented to him and his contingency in El Salvador. Salvadorian government says you need to go get the right form in order to request a visit with this gentleman. That office was an hour and a half away. And one of his quotes was, I'm not just disappointed. I'm angry that a representative of the United States Congress was treated that way in El Salvador.
Yeah, he said we got there and they told us we didn't have the right papers. He goes, I'm not going to tell you what I told them, but we were disrespected. So you felt disrespected, but you're not telling us what you told them, which obviously to me was very disrespectful if you can't repeat it.
I cannot overemphasize the audacity. This is a reason that other countries hate the United States of America. Try to think of a scenario where an American, let's just say that, I'll give you one that's like so benign, you'll be like, I just can't believe it. An American is in England and he's there working, but he doesn't have a visa. He's not legally there. And England sends him home. When he gets to America, it's confirmed that he was a member of a gang and that he has other issues in America. So we put him in jail, partly to protect the public and partly to protect him. Because when he gets back, he goes, ooh, I was in, whatever the gang was. I was in this gang. Can you imagine?
Manchester United.
Can you imagine a member of parliament showing up here and demanding to see him
in his powdered
suggesting
wig,
that they want to take him back to England and give him a fair trial? He's an American.
Heck, not even a trial. Just let him live his life again.
He's in an American prison. And I just thought this Glenn Ivey, he was serious, folks.
Who paid for the trip?
I don't know. And why wasn't he back at home if he's got time to do that? I honestly tried to picture Michael Cloud going to England, let's say, where an English gentleman was sent back home for being here, overstaying his visa. Something simple here. We send him home. And Michael Cloud going to England and demanding that he be allowed to see that prisoner in a British man in a British jail.
Yeah, he was deported from Illinois Tech. He overstayed his visa.
Right.
He deserves to be here.
Did you see that number? It was something like 57% of the students at Illinois Tech are foreign students.
We'll get to that too.
Yeah, but that's amazing.
But Glenn Ivey on Memorial Day, he didn't have somewhere better to be in his district on Memorial Day.
But the Democrats care so much. That's the deal, Ash. And his constituents are so proud that he gave up his Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So one little piece of Memorial Day levity, I heard Rob Schneider the other day talking about Pride Month. And he said, I don't understand it. He goes, you're in the military, you serve your country, you get Veterans Day. You get Veterans Day. It's a day, that's the day. Then you put the flag back in the garage. He goes, your kid goes and dies for your country. He gets Memorial Day. Don't let the flag stay out there all week. It's Memorial Day. He goes, Abe Lincoln freed the slaves. He goes, he freed the slaves. He gets a day. Oh, but he doesn't get a whole day. He gets a day shared with George Washington, the founder of the country, first president.
And now it's just called President's Day.
And he doesn't even get his own day, but just a day. And then Schneider added, if Lincoln and Kennedy and Washington would have slept together, then they'd have a whole month, Pride Month. That just shows you how skewed and ridiculous our society has devolved. I could not care less about Pride Month at all. I want heterosexual quarter.
Oh, but you get it every day.
Oh, yeah, sure. I get it every day. You bet.
That's always the argument.
I get it every day. Come on.
I want to see a congressional investigation into Glenn Ivey.
No doubt. Greg Garcia sums it up. Yet another reason why the Dems lost and will continue to lose. They continue to back the wrong horse. If you really believe that Kilmar Abreu Garcia is the hill you want to die upon, Glenn Ivey, then I hope
the Democrats,
I
not
hope
just
it's a
him.
slow death
Yeah.
because it's coming. The midterms are just around the corner, and you're going to see more seats destroyed. Who's going to talk you into voting Democrat? Jasmine Crockett with her militant ghetto act. It's an act.
They care more about immigrants, illegal and otherwise, than they
Country
do
was
about
built by immigrants, Ash. Built by immigrants.
than they do Americans. Actually, not really. I think all of our founding fathers were born here.
Well,
Most of them.
They all just kind of sat on the sidelines and watched all the black folks build this nation, that and the Asians that built the railroads. And that's pretty much, they didn't do anything, but just, they were all born with money, all of them. They all moved out west and found their fortunes. They didn't have to fight the Comanches and survive.
No.
They just abused the Indians.
Well, but now we have to apologize and pay reparations for things that happened 400, 500 years ago.
You make it just through this generation of handout based youth idiots, and you will never hear about reparations again. It's just got to go, you know what? I mean, like, that's like the Cowboys wanting reparations from the Steelers because Jackie Smith dropped that ball. We would have won if Jackie would have caught that. Unbelievable. Yeah, did you see, was it a big deal? Was it a big deal that the president didn't shake hands with every graduate at West Point? It was insinuated on several media outlets that
I don't recall Joe Biden shook anybody's hands when he left Air Force.
He did, because he didn't know. He didn't know that he was doing it. He just did it. There's Jay. But I don't understand why it's a big deal, because if you ask West Pointers who they'd rather follow, who would they go to battle for, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? The handshake didn't sway them. The second lieutenants of last year are not saying, oh, I hate Donald Trump. He didn't shake my hand. Those men are already eager to follow Donald Trump. So I don't know. It's always got to be, there was a big deal, and it was just as wrong, just as ignorant back then. They made a big deal about Trump going and placing a wreath, and that Joe Biden didn't place a wreath. And at the time I thought, okay, big deal. I mean, there's enough pomp and circumstance in DC as it is. I don't know, so I'm not judging either way. I know that there were times that Joe Biden didn't make appearances at certain functions. Now, it's all kind of come full circle for me with Joe Biden. If you can show, the Democrats have said Joe Biden's not cognizantly capable of running for president again. So we're going to let Kamala run without electing her to the role. We're just going to put her in there. And at the same time, somebody was utilizing an auto pen, because the president, we've admitted now, was incapacitated, was mentally incompetent to hold office. At the same moment, someone was using the auto pen to preemptively give pardons to people who haven't been charged with crimes. Whoever did that, I don't know if treason's the word, but they overstepped their bounds. Yeah. And which, by the way, could nullify all of those pardons. And that matters.
And potential executive orders if he didn't really know he was ordering them.
See, now you're onto something, because if you'll recall, Biden extended the contracts of certain folks, certain department, like I think the Department of Education. He did certain things via executive order to protect those people from the bad orange man. But it may be able to be shown that by definition, Joe Biden won the nomination with the vote. You replaced him. Why? He wasn't. Are you going to try to say that he just fell into dementia in that gap? But you didn't replace him formally with the 25th Amendment. Therefore, the auto pen was being used without his permission. Therefore, what you did was illegal. kind of hard to get around. It's kind of like I think they call it res ipsa loquitur. The thing speaks for itself. It's all the Latin I know.
Yeah, apparently he said he had to get on a phone call with China or Russia or something and then left and then went and played golf. You don't think he couldn't have made that call while he was on the phone or made that call while he was on his way to the golf course?
Yeah, I don't know. And to be honest, I don't care. I don't care. But yeah, that is what it is. We have some.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what he does or what he doesn't do because
it's going to be
doesn't
wrong.
matter, right? Put a pause on European tariffs till July.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden the EU wants to come to the table and talk.
Yeah, Trump has bigger fish to fry than the graduates at West Point.
I will say this: I do think. Well, we probably need to take a break and then we'll get into this. But I do think he miscalculated Russia.
He's very, very disappointed in Vlad Putin and has pointed that out. He said, I've never had a bad relationship with Vlad Putin, but I don't know what his latest moves are. I think he's gone crazy. That's what Trump said. That's not the one that we got. That's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay. Dollar Floor Store, folks. Get in. Check out the flooring. This wet floor. Don't you wish you didn't have carpet?
Yes.
Get in and get some vinyl, laminate, waterproof. You got dogs.
Ceramic tile.
Absolutely.
Easy to clean, easy to mop.
Absolutely.
Don't have to vacuum it.
Get into Dollar Floor Store. They're just good folks, too.
They are
give
good
you
folks.
good advice.
Yeah,
Tell them your
talk to
situation.
Tamara. She'll help you out.
Absolutely. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. I didn't make it last Thursday. Heard it was great.
It almost had a record turnout.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's just what happens. I think that'll squelch anybody suggesting that the Wade and Carter group not have fun.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun.
We had more people there than any other group there.
Always have more than anybody else there. How about the offices here at 205? If you reach out to JP Hull, you'll find that he's got space available here in a beautiful, beautiful historic building, an important building in downtown Victoria. A great place for you to call your office. It's so easy because you can tell people, I'm right there at 205. Everybody knows where 205 is. So get by and see it. USA Concrete Coatings. You want to sand it, seal it, stain it, paint it, whatever you want done to your concrete flooring, garage.
Charlie Garcia and the gang will deliver it.
And they'll help you with advice, too.
Yep.
You're like, hey, I don't know what to do. I just know that I've got some cracks in my garage and they're starting to spread. Well, sir, we're going to prop up this corner of your slab and then we're going to seal those cracks and put down a tough as nails polyurethane coat that won't crack, stick, peel, or fade, and you will be pleased. Veracruz Restaurant open today.
Pre-Caldo Wednesday.
It's the day before Caldo Wednesday, which is a great day to get in. Enjoy the best queso, the best guacamole confirmed. There have been contests. They've won.
They win my contest every time.
Absolutely.
Guacamole there.
Fantastic, fresh salsa. It's the best. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300.
Busy weekend.
Yep.
Wrecks in the area all weekend. Not good.
Yep. Mark Cepeda pointing out that military enlistments are way up over last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a rise towards the end of 2024, and the critics are trying to say, well, that's because of Biden. No, it's because Trump was getting elected.
Yep.
And they saw a rise in late season.
Like I said, Donald Trump works 100 hours a week. It's tireless work. He's constantly working. It's unbelievable that anybody would question the president. I'm not saying you don't have to like the results. You don't have to like what he's doing, but 100 hours a week is very common for the Don. Just speaking of that, did you see what Dr. Oz had to say?
Yeah,
about
this is interesting.
Go to that, and we'll come back to Russia because Russia is such a low-hanging fruit. I mean, everybody knows Russia is messing up.
Dr. Oz over the weekend, and maybe his timing could have been better.
Well, he just did it at a time when it doesn't get much run.
Yeah.
You know?
$14 billion in fraud that his agency and the Doge folks have identified. Not just fraud, waste, abuse. I'm not sure how you abuse money.
Well, here's what they're saying.
But
say you live in Texas and you move to Arkansas, and they're saying because of your residence, which state gets your Medicaid money. Turns out in many cases, both states were getting that money
from the federal government. Doesn't mean the people were getting the money twice, but the states were getting it because they never cleaned up their rolls because they were on the dole.
Absolutely.
So why would you, if you were state, why would you want to clean? Where's the incentive to clean up your rolls?
Because you're collecting money
Because you're
by
collecting
having
money.
that body on the roll.
Even if you know that person is no longer in your state.
100%.
$14 billion.
And that's just Dr. Oz, who, I guess, what did he have, a failed Senate
in
race?
Pennsylvania.
And I think he might be a different kind of dude. I don't know much about him personally, but
he was a fan. The Dems were fans of Dr. Oz when he appeared on Oprah all the time, when he appeared on Dr. Phil all the time.
But now
he
he's
would make
certainly got to have no
appearances
credibility,
no,
right?
none.
Can't have any credibility.
No. He was a great doctor and really pushing the cutting edge of healthcare, and was a trusted source for millions of Americans, including Democrats, until he decided to run for for Senate in Pennsylvania as a Republican.
Yeah.
Then, of course, he became, persona non grata with the Democrats, and he was no longer reputable. He was no longer a trusted health resource. None of those things that he was when he never didn't appear on Oprah anymore, Dr. Phil, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy how nobody tries to cancel you like the left tries to cancel you just because of your politics.
Interesting. There you have it. I had a conversation over the weekend. This is an aside. We haven't talked about this, but I had a conversation over the weekend that, used to have what they call it, DAAP. It was kind of like it's where you send the kids that get in trouble at school.
DAEP, maybe?
Whatever it is.
Yeah. Deep DAP. Hey.
Dumbass attendance program, whatever it is. You send those kids over there. Well, they moved everybody out of Stroman because it's dilapidated. Parts of it are falling down and it's full of mold. So that's where they chose to put those kids. I'm not sure I like that. Right? It's like, we're not giving up on you, but we're going to put you in a building that's we've deemed inhabitable.
Well, I think they put them in the part that's not uninhabitable.
Of course they did. Of course they did. But they're over there, and there's another program that's in there too. They kind of like combine two programs. Over 300 kids. I had it.
How many kids we got in the district?
14,000.
That's 300. It's not very many.
No, it's not. In fact, it's so few that, like I'm saying, just cut them loose. Bye. See you. Have a good life. And at the end of the day, I was told that there's just kids there goes, they're in high school, can't read, can't add, basic IQ, maybe 60, just enough to keep a heartbeat. Ask them questions, and if they answer, it's always, I don't know. And I'm like, there's your tax dollars at work. That just give them a certificate to go someday and get a GED. And I was told, no, you can't do that because they can't. They can't read. How do those kids, you know what they do? They keep collecting from the state.
Push them along.
They hang on, and then those kids get out with some kind of a degree. They do. They graduate. They graduate kids out of there.
I always like the teachers that would ask the kid why they don't know.
Yeah.
If they were asked a question and they said, I don't know. Well, why don't you know? Make the kid answer why they didn't know.
They don't.
I didn't do them.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter McNally. District Alternative Education Program.
Because we can't just call it. I mean,
it's not special ed. It's like lazy ed. The kids that don't want to learn. And by the way, what it tells me is that the district and school districts in general, public school in general, passes kids along, collects the money, passes kids along.
About 2% of our students are in there.
Yeah,
14,000. Right?
2% is not a bad dropout rate. Just cut them loose. Good luck. Take care. See you at McDonald's. Got no problem. You got to have those people. They got to work.
I remember moving here, and we actually used to hold the parents accountable for the truancy problems. Why can't we do that anymore? Parents would end up in court. Parents would end up in the JP courts.
Parents would end up in jail. But then there are other 4 kids that are all collecting welfare. What would they do?
But why was that okay 30 years ago, and 30 years later it's not okay anymore?
Well, because you're discriminating. It's just one of those things. Did you know that there was a push, and somebody will know what this was called, but let's say let's say that there's a law. The law is you can't punch a police officer. You can't punch a police officer. If statistics show that a certain group of people show a higher propensity to punch a police officer, let's just use an example of blacks have a higher likelihood of punching a police officer than any other group. They're wanting to say that that law is discriminatory because you put a law in place that a certain cultural group or ethnic group or race is more likely to be the same thing.
It used to be called proactive law enforcement.
Right. If a woman is more likely to slap a police officer than a man, then the law that you can't slap a police officer is discriminatory. And therefore, it's got to be taken off the books. Very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. I was saddened to read over the weekend that there was a vehicular mass killing in Liverpool, England.
I don't know.
We've got it somewhere.
I don't know if anybody actually died.
I don't know, 27 people injured. I don't know if anybody died or not. I just know the Liverpool parade attack. Yes, sir. Nearly 50. Now it says nearly 50 injured after car plows into a crowd. You know what their number one concern was? It's not a terrorist act. It's not a terrorist act. Well, it was for those 50 people.
And then others.
Look at there's just bodies laying on the street. Terrible. But here's the deal. One thing you can say what you want about America, and somebody pulls out a pistol in a public space and starts shooting people, long before they shoot 50 people, long before, somebody else is going to put out a pistol and shoot that guy.
I don't know that
in Texas, that would happen.
I don't know that the number of incidents actually bear that out.
Well,
but
if I'm around Honorable State Rep Sheriff AJ Louderback, I'm going to stand behind AJ and the bad guy's going down. So here's the deal. What are you going to do in England? You're going to T-bone that vehicle? You're going to hit it with a bigger car?
How do you get that close to the parade route with a car when you have a parade? I mean, that just seems
fast.
Bad
50
planning.
People, and they put on here 50 people injured, including children. Because if you can throw children into the mix, it makes the crime so much more heinous.
4 children injured in total.
Yeah. I mean, why do you do that? Including children and women. But everybody's equal. Or any of those children in transition. You see how silly we've gotten? Everybody's got to have a label, including children.
They were very quick to point out the driver was a white male.
Oh, yeah. But if he had been a Muslim dude in a complete get-up, they would not have pointed out, because that might make you think it was terrorism.
Yeah.
England, to me, still predominantly a white country.
The incident was not being treated as terrorism, according to Merseyside Police Assistant Chief Constable Jenny Sims, and they were not looking for anyone else in connection with the incident.
No, he did it. He's the guy. Did you notice how they were very quick to point out that the Liverpool, what's the FC? Football club?
Yeah.
They were very quick to point out they were sending thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Yeah. How about a 9mm?
I mean, they had nothing to do with it. It was a celebration of their winning the Champions Cup?
I guess. You can't celebrate.
Premier League title. That's what it was.
First victim was thrown about 20 feet, it says. The whole incident lasted 20 to 30 seconds. Terrible deal.
Guy says he thinks he hit somebody by mistake and then put his foot down, so maybe panic. I don't know.
What's he doing in a car that close to him? This guy went to hurt people.
Absolutely.
Don't try to tell me you're sorry.
I'm with you. I'm not convinced that he didn't try to do something.
Yeah. Craziness.
But how's that? I mean, just because there was, I don't know.
10-mile long parade, lots of opportunities, Scott Tomko says.
Oh, yeah, but
what's our man HR talking about? Love HR.
I don't know.
hang on. Let's just.
Jared McCrugan says when crazy can't get a gun, they find an alternative.
That's exactly right.
He's probably mad he didn't. He's probably mad. The guy that did this is probably mad he didn't kill somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, where are we as a society when you can't even celebrate the good things that happen in your communities like this? You know, I mean, Liverpool, the whole town of Liverpool loves Liverpool FC. I don't know.
Yeah.
But how is, I mean, I don't know. Is it not an act of terrorism because they caught the guy and they found no plans of somebody else to do something similar?
Since he wasn't a Republican.
But over here, we can charge anybody with we can slap terrorism on any sort of public violent act like this.
Yeah. Especially if he's got any statements ever on social media that show that he's pro-Trump.
And I'm not sure that we have watered down the definition of terrorism as well over time.
What's terrorism? An intentional act intended to promote fear among a group of people.
Cause fear.
Yeah, that to me, that's.
I don't know how this would. One guy driving into a parade route of, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to minimize it, but maybe the police are right on this one. Maybe it isn't terrorism.
Jonathan Williams says he was probably a Chelsea fan.
Maybe Man U, since they're mad at the Glazers that own that team. They've gotten so bad. Yeah, what's going on with Russia?
I don't know. There's a comment on there. I've always had right up there where the Russia deal is. I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He's gone absolutely crazy.
Dude, when you invade another country in this day and age, you're already crazy.
That's right.
I mean, and we were critical of Donald Trump's characterization of Putin. When all this first happened, there was absolutely no characterization out of the Biden administration of Putin's acts.
Says on Monday, Germany and other Ukrainian allies lifted restrictions on Kyiv firing long-range missiles into Russia following the massive aerial attacks, a move the Kremlin slammed as a dangerous decision.
For who? I think having the restrictions on them was dangerous for Ukrainians.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Russia's able to lob missiles as far as they want. I mean,
they sent drones in there.
Drones and cruise missiles yesterday.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, can you imagine if Ukraine decided just to take out the Kremlin? I mean, you know, Russia doesn't have the Iron Dome or whatever we've got.
The Golden Dome is what we're trying to get to.
It's got to be golden.
350 drones and 9 cruise missiles. They're calling it the largest attack to date in the 3-year war.
Wow.
I mean, let's call this what it is. It's not a war.
It's an assault.
It's an ongoing attack.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't think the ceasefires are gonna come. I just don't see it happening.
It says on the ground, Russia holds almost 20% of pre-war Ukrainian territory and has attempted to advance along the front lines, though both sides have been in an effective stalemate for months.
Yeah. It's become very much the old trench warfare type of.
It's silly. It's a waste of life. It's silly.
It is.
They need to. They're not fighting over ideology. They're fighting over territory. It's not like Ukraine's trying to stamp out oligarchies or stamp out communism. They're just fighting. It's dumb.
It is dumb. I don't quite get it.
Good morning, John Anderson over in the Carolinas. Hope you're well, sir. You should have some nice weather over there today.
What do you make of what's going on with the little, well, the left will paint Donald Trump's failings to get anything done between Russia and Ukraine as a failure.
Right.
And this is where the bravado of President Trump maybe needs to take a bit of a downturn,
a breather,
because he said, I'll have this war ended in 24 hours if I'm elected. Well, that didn't happen. And I mean, that was unrealistic anyway at the time. Well, the left is holding him to that. And those that control the narrative and the legacy of the president is the mainstream media. And this is what he'll be remembered for,
right,
amongst the mainstream media.
Stephanie Connie says Ukraine tried taking out Putin right before this big attack by Russia. They attempted to hit his helicopter. Solid point. I mean, I did not know that, but that's, maybe that's why. And at some point you have to realize that we've always been, I think, pro-Ukraine in concept. I mean, they got unprovoked. They got attacked. So the same people that are all bunched up against Russia and pro-Ukraine, the same people that say Ukraine has every right to fight, they're all bent out of shape that the Jews are beating up on those poor Hamas.
I was just going to make the same
They're beating up
point.
on those poor Palestinians. They don't even have a country. Everybody, the same people. Man, go Ukraine.
They could have had a country. They refused the two-state solution.
Can you imagine if we'd given, just in addition to all we've already done for them, if we'd given another couple of $100 billion to Israel so that they could more effectively attack Hamas? The left would be so bunched up they couldn't stand it. But yet they're just like, just keep sending that money to Ukraine. Here's the difference. Israel's going to win with or without us. All we're doing is trying to rein Israel in. Please quit killing people in the Gaza.
Although without us and our spending, their Iron Dome,
yeah,
probably ain't as effective.
But I have no problem. I'm all for Ukraine. But as I've told you before, Ukraine can't win this conflict.
Not if we restrict them from firing missiles into Russia.
They can't win anyway.
Well,
if they send missiles into Moscow, aside from political obscurity, Russia would just nuke them.
We want to help you, but we're going to tie one arm behind your back when you go fight Mike Tyson.
Right. Well, you just have to shuck and move, right?
Remember that boxing game, Knockout? Ukraine is Glass Joe in this fight.
And I don't believe if Trump, well, put it this way, the conflict did not start. It didn't begin in Trump's first term because Trump was there. Trump would have discouraged such an action by Russia, and I believe Russia would have listened.
I think he did. I mean, let's not forget they made the first incursion into Ukraine under the Obama administration,
and the war did not escalate under Trump. And then Biden got in, and they went, "Oh, thank goodness!
Yeah,
here's a mamby-pamby idiot." The world knew that he was an idiot. The world knew.
No, the Democrats knew. I'm not sure the world knew because they completely fooled half the voters in this country.
Illegal. It's totally illegal to do.
And somehow managed to get 8 million more votes than any other election ever.
When all this happens, when they do have a ceasefire that lasts, it will be because of the United States. I don't give Trump all the credit. It'll be because of the United States. And it's coming. But Zelensky is very, very proud, and I'm proud of him for that. But at some point, you've got to look, and if you're Sugar Ray Leonard, you may be really, really good. You're just in the wrong weight class when you decide to fight Muhammad Ali. I mean, you're in the wrong weight class. You're going to get pummeled, and he's going to take your corner and throw your mouthpiece into the stands.
I mean, I got to thinking, why don't they do something like Britain and China did with Hong Kong? In 50 years, we want, let's ceasefire, but in 50 years, we get that land back, or 100 years, we get that land back.
Yeah. I think Ukraine's too proud, and hats off to them. People have died over pride. I mean, look at the Alamo. I mean, those guys said, hey, we're going to be free or dead. We're going to fight till the end. Good for them. But I look at Santa Anna's army as being Russia, and I look at the Ukraine as being the Alamo. That's just sadly that's the way I see it. So
yeah, but I don't think there's a San Jacinto just around the corner.
No, there's
for
not.
Ukraine.
There is no San Jacinto right around the corner. And the fact of the matter is, I'm going to go one and one. You know, I parlayed this. I took Ukraine and the under, and I took, Israel. And Israel's going to beat Hamas. They're going to pound them into oblivion. And I've got nothing but pride for that. Go get them. Go get them, Israel. Kill them all. Could not care less. But when you look at what's going on in Ukraine, I can say, kill them all, man. Go take over Russia. Put it back on them. Good luck. I'm going to go 1-1.
I mean, the Russians don't even want to fight. That's why they're bringing in the North Koreans.
Absolutely. They're just subbing it out because Kim Jong-un's like, take my people. Give me some money so I can I need to build a new destroyer. Mine fell apart when it left the slip. Other countries' militaries are a source of humor if you watch them very closely. There's forced conscription in Ukraine. Young people being rounded up and said, oh, it's time for you to go fight. Make no mistake, Ukraine is also an oligarchy. Just the lesser of the two evils.
Well, they were the one that was laundering money back to the Biden administration. So we turned a blind eye to what they were doing.
There's no doubt. We will never know the full breadth of all the corruption of the Biden years by people that Joe Biden wasn't even aware of. I'm not saying Joe Biden in total was so corrupt as the people around him took advantage of his lack of acuity.
Mentally and physically. And now we're finding out that this cancer may have been at least as early as 2022.
Oh, yeah.
That he knew about it.
And you know what? You know how you know that's true? Because last week, his group put out a Twitter post refuting that. No. We just found out. Yeah. Liars. Liars, man. Dude's been sick for years.
Jared McCurgan says, except the U.S. had a coup over an elected president in Ukraine, and Ukraine was and is the most corrupt country. I don't know. They're right there with Russia, man. I mean, it's
the Kraken.
It's
the Kraken coming in emphatic.
I mean, and Belarus is pretty corrupt. I mean, it's a photo finish. If this was the Kentucky Derby, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus is in a photo finish, and we may never ever actually determine who the winner is.
You folks ever notice how Ash has dogs? And he's got a dog named Ukra. He's got a dog named Belarus. It's always interesting to me, folks. Very interesting. White Trash Services, Putin. White Trash Site Services.
Don't forget Putin.
Oh, Pooty Poo. White Trash Services for all your demolition needs. Nothing quite as fun as demolishing an old building on a piece of property you own.
Yeah, if you demolish it, they'll come take it away.
Yeah,
Stephanie Connie says she just signed her parents up with White Trash.
Yeah. They do a great job. They're great folks. 550-1826. Just reach out to them. They'll help you out. Atzenhofer and atzenhofer.com. Get by today and see the USA in a Chevrolet this summer. Nothing like a vacation. Get a new vehicle, bumper-to-bumper warranty, hit the road together. Great stuff. Be glad you're an American.
Peace of mind of driving a new vehicle on vacation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Parvita
Wellness. Vita Cafe, eh?
Absolutely.
Vita Cafe. I've been watching that show Mobland, and I picked up a few choice words. Parvita and Vita Cafe. Vita Cafe opened this morning for breakfast. Healthy.
And lunch.
Oh, yeah, and dinner. Great spot. But they're open early. Get by and see them. Chestnut Furniture. Get in and see why you just always do better at Chestnut. Chestnut and Love make your house a home. You go down and see Bobby Leon, tell him Wade and Carter sent you. You'll get like just a slight upcharge for loitering in his store. But at the end of the day, whether you need bedding,
called a fine.
It's a fine. It's a tariff. The Wade and Carter tariff. The money comes to us. Chestnut Furniture for all your indoor needs, and then Wentz Services for all your outdoor needs. You need a new self-contained generator.
GFCI's outside.
Everything. Reach out to Went for all your electrical needs. Turnkey service on a Generac generator. You'll be thrilled. So, First State Bank of Louise, Astros update. Astros. That's why I'm sporting the gear today. The Astros take 3 out of 4 from the Seattle Mariners at home to begin the homestand. And it's worth sharing with you that Dawn and I on Thursday, I had a business appointment, and it turned into an Astros game with my host, and which is why I missed bingo. But the business was the key, and the ball game was the bonus. Lance McCullers came into that game after your call. We talked about him being threatened and his family being threatened with harm.
Yeah,
and really under a lot of stress. And he gets down. He gives up a run in the first, gives up a run in the second, but he pitched his way out of it.
Didn't get the win the other day, but did strike out like 8 and 4 1/3 or something like that. He looks like he's getting back. To
me, he turned a corner. Yeah. But important to note that as he turned the corner, Jose Altuve hit 2 home runs, batting in the 3-hole. And Jeremy Pena was hit once with a pitch. His Pena's average now up to 295.
Christian Walker hit that home run the other night or the other day.
Walk-off
2-run home
run. Paredes had like 4 home runs in 3 games. He went 3 for 5. Look at that.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something.
Sunday, they were off.
Jake Myers is hitting over 300. Those are the kind of things you've got to have. He's hitting at 300. Yainer Diaz still struggling a little bit at the plate, but so good defensively. Cam Smith hitting 261.
His average is coming up. He was batting like 214 starting May. So he's
Mauricio Dubon hitting 272. The Astros are starting to gel. And I'm telling you, I told Dawn Thursday night, when the Astros turn this season around, you'll be able to point at that game that we were at where McCullers got into a jam, pitched himself out of it, had a decent outing. He's now, rather than dreading and scarily anticipating, he's looking forward to his next start.
Yeah.
And with Jose Altuve picking him up at the plate, Jeremy Pena got hit by a pitch, the first pitch of the game, and then later on got hit again, and then his next at-bat ripped a triple. He just stood on third like, you should have hit me. You should have hit me.
Here's my concern with the Astros. They're going into a series with the Athletics. We seem to be struggling this year against teams that statistically are the weak ones. I mean, we blew the series against the Rockies, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
We lost the series earlier to the A's, and they're not good. And we go back into a series this week with the A's. Starting tonight, Hunter Brown on the mound for the Astros. So 7-10 start. Let's hope they, nobody was giving them much of a chance to win that series against Seattle.
Yeah, take 3 out of 4. I did see something the other day that's as a baseball fan, it's a note. Shohei Ohtani faced 5 hitters from the mound and hit his 18th home run. He appears to be panning out for the Dodgers.
Nobody felt he wasn't.
I just didn't think he'd ever pitch again. He's had
I
Tommy
didn't
John
either, to be honest.
twice.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. I agree with you completely. What do we make of Trump's war with Harvard?
I think Trump's 100% right. He's using the old storied university as a whipping boy. The whole problem with Harvard is ignoring the Supreme Court decision that says that universities can't use race as a hiring mechanism or as a admission. You can't use it in your admissions. You can't say we need more minorities. You can't do it. And Trump is fixated on the fact that Harvard now offers remedial math because the people that are getting into Harvard, it's like saying we're going to let you get into engineering school at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We're going to let you into the engineering program, but we're going to teach you some Algebra 2 in your freshman year. That's ridiculous. The best and brightest are not going to Harvard. Trump says because they are using race in their admissions, he's pulling their federal funding.
Unless you're Asian, then they didn't want you in there. They were actually, their policies were racist against the Asians. Remember that was a couple of years ago came out with.
And he also pointed out that they allow a lot of anti-Semitic protests on their campus. So Trump, the Nazi,
Columbia.
Trump, the Nazi, the anti-Semite, the guy that hates the Jews, somehow being hypocritical and saying he won't stand for Harvard to treat the Jews wrong. I do find I do find it interesting that the left is screaming that Donald Trump is canceling all these programs, important programs. He's canceling the programs. And the problem is that it's Harvard that's canceling them, not Trump. They've got plenty of money. Harvard's got plenty of money. Trump's just saying, I'm not sending you any more money. Now, they did get a court injunction to say that Trump can't cancel grants that they've already been awarded. But it was pointed out that Harvard should not waste their time applying for any more grants because they ain't getting them. And that is presidential prerogative. He's just saying you're not abiding by the law, and I don't like the way you're bringing in foreign students who then turn around and openly hate our country,
steal all our technology and secrets.
And Harvard stands up and says, we're all about viewpoint diversity. And we're all about freedom of speech. And Trump says, that's fine, just not on my dollar. Good luck. And I could not agree more. Couldn't agree more.
$3 billion in federal funding. That's really what it's all about.
No doubt about it. That's all Harvard cares about is the money.
Harvard can say what they want about being altruistic, and this is about it, free speech, and this is about the marketplace of ideas, even though they've basically banned Alan Dershowitz from coming on the campus anymore.
Yeah. Trump attacked elite university is controlled by Marxist maniacs and lunatics. Nobody disagrees. Nobody intelligent disagrees that our universities are dominated by extreme left-wing thinkers.
But Harvard filed a lawsuit to get $3 billion back in federal funding. That's really what it boils down to, folks, is the money.
My 7th grader told me, I said, what do y'all do in school? And he gave me a class. I won't mention the class because I wasn't there. I can't verify it, but I'll tell you what his take was. And Rylan and I don't talk politics. We really don't. I said, well, what do y'all do in that class? He goes, not much. He goes, pretty much the teacher just kind of stands up front and talks bad about Donald Trump. That's a quote. Pretty much teacher just stands up front and talks bad about Donald Trump. What a bad guy he is. Indoctrination camp, man. That's public school. Indoctrination camp. It's not good.
Trying to see what else is happening.
What did Tammy Williams tell you down there? I'm always interested in our comments section.
She said it's not working out for them, and Tammy said, according to the courts, it is.
Yeah, it is. The courts have said that they've got to go ahead and honor the grants that they've been given, but they don't have to give them any more. We just pointed that out, and that's correct. They don't owe them anything.
Yeah, but these schools that are, they've become so dependent on foreign students for
and on the federal government. So don't fight the federal government over foreign students. It's pretty simple to me. If I'm dependent upon your yard, I mow your yard, but every time I come over to your house, I put a Democrat sign in your front yard. You tell me, quit doing it. Stop doing it. Then all of a sudden, you say, guess what? You're not doing my yard anymore. Okay. There you go.
I'm surprised that, by all measurable accounts, U.S. education is languishing around the rest of the world, except maybe in some higher ed.
Right.
But why are they all coming here?
They're coming here because we still have the best education system probably collegiately in the world, and they can gather information here, and then they hope to stay here, overstay their visas and stay here.
Or take it back home and not face any consequences
That's
for
right.
it.
That's right.
We just basically tell them when we find out, don't come back.
Yeah. 100%.
Don't come back now, you hear? It's basically what we tell them, right?
100%. Don't need them here.
And then they sneak in from China or wherever else anyway later on, and we find them, they're here, and then we just send them back. We don't hold them in prison here.
Absolutely.
It's crazy how we treat these folks.
Folks, it's a Tuesday. I hope you had a great holiday weekend. I hope that you took a moment to appreciate the price that was paid for you to have that weekend. Many, many young men have died in the service of this country to keep us free. It's worth noting that Ronald Reagan once said 2 lives were lost, the life of that young man and the life that he could have lived. Very, very sad. War is a bad thing. I applaud our president, no matter your take on his politics. I applaud our president for most recently telling Zelensky, no, I will not put boots on the ground in your country. You need to resolve your conflict with Russia. You're the one getting your ass kicked. Resolve your problem. I'm sorry.
It's crazy how the Democrats led the protests against the Vietnam War, and now they are absolutely the warmongers and the
absolutely 100%. Ukraine is South Vietnam. They are the good guy. They are the one we want to win. You want 58,000 Americans to die over there? I don't. That's one generation removed. Vietnam veterans are getting older. The country begins to forget. We don't have time to forget. We'll never forget. We'll be here standing in the gap. Folks, I hope you have a great day. We love you. Have a great day, and we will talk mañana.
Bye, folks.
Well, I've been kicked out.